What's going on, guys? All right, so basically we're doing a little bit of a trade here on Bitcoin. Basically, the objective is to see it go down. It's been pumping, it's been going really strong. I'm shorting against the trend. So what I'm going for is a back test to volume weighted average price breakout. So pretty much this was a daily VWAP that we broke out. Hence the big kind of strong candle there. It has yet to actually back test. So the market pretty much has one of two things it can do here. It's either going to run all the way up to the next target of 70,000 or it's going to eventually back test down to here. So I was hoping and looking that after this breakout, we would revert back down to back test trend. So far, it hasn't worked and is not working, and that's okay. So we'll see. Time will tell. Again, guys, yeah, so pretty much, as we already explained, the concept here is a back test to the daily VWAP. So this is a daily VWAP level. We broke it out. It's very common that it will back test. Not always, but it's common. It's a very common occurrence. Right now, it's a very strong market, so we're basically doing a trade against the overall market trend, but nonetheless, we're still looking for the backtest trade. Now, the reason we're not going down to it right now, other than the fact that people are not letting it go down, there's not enough selling, that we track volume weighted average prices. So like, for example, I'll track the 1 minute volume weighted average price of the daily VWAP breakout, and this is exactly where we're holding the market. So I already know that we're not going to go get that target that we're looking for, or really even go down lower until the 1 minute volume trend of that breakout is willing to give in. So that's something that we can dial in on, and basically the very micro time frame, and see exactly why Bitcoin's not going down for the moment based off VWAP reasons. But nonetheless, that's the target. If we start to get below this volume weighted average price, that's where speed should start to pick up. So nonetheless, we'll see how it goes. Oh yeah, another side note is if the market, so this is the way we read this market, essentially, this is the breakout of the daily VWAP. The market's going to do one of two things. It's either going to be back testing the breakout, or it will be continuing up to its next daily VWAP. So if we do not back test and we run to the next target up first, then this becomes a new potential short area, and the target of this short becomes the back test, right? So it's either we back test sooner or we back test later. And the risk of being short now or anywhere along this move, right, is that it goes to the target up before back testing, right? So again, you don't control the market. So, it's a game of probability, right? And it's a game of risk. So I understand the risk is that the market can go all the way up to $70,000 from here if it so wanted to and so choose. But I also know that we have yet to backtest the most recent breakout of 69,000. So whatever the market wants to do, whether it wants to go up to 70,000 now or later, again, that's just is what it is, right? That's the market. We can't control that. All we can control is how much we're willing to risk, how much of a stop we're willing to have, and then a deep understanding of how markets function, where they can go, and things like that, and so on and so forth. So when we think about risk to reward on this sort of setup, where's the short position one? Not on there? That's weird. Where's it? Well, anyways. So if you think about risk reward in this scenario, it's basically like just in general, right? Let's go over to my position here. So the risk to reward is like profit is all the way down to, almost 400 points, 350 points down, right? So that's like profit, right? If we go to the previous high, you'd be risking about 210 points to get not even. So it's almost a 1 to 2 if you go to that previous high, right? If we were to bring it down to like this, then we're obviously getting into 1 to 4s, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. right? Obviously, we're not going to risk all the way up to 70,000. That doesn't make sense. But we know that that is the risk, meaning if we don't get the back test now and markets go up, 70,000 is a magnet. So, of course, we're not going to risk that, right? We're not going to let the market squeeze us all the way up, right? Just because we think it can be bearish again here, right? We would close out, take the loss, and then restart back up here, okay? So for the moment, you know, Bitcoin's most likely following 1 minute volume weighted average price down. So if I do this and start anchoring these little 1 minute candles down, you can kind of see how we are you can see how we're building lower highs on the 1 minute micro time frames. So we basically just created a 1 minute micro lower high on the micro Bitcoin futures here, which means we're pretty much doing the same thing if I were to pull up TradingView, right? If I pull up TradingView, you can see we are still holding the breakout volume weighted average price, but if we start anchoring 1 minute highs here, you can see we're just kind of working the market down off these 1 minute volume weighted average prices for the time being. So like right there, and then obviously off the highs. So we do have some degree of 1 minute selling control from this high. We just took out the buyer's breakout VWAP. So arguably some of those buyers will stop out now, which means we should be making some money now. So now we're up 70 points. Let me just double check the, what was I gonna do? Double check something. I'm gonna double check this guy. At 69,000 is where that daily VWAP's at. So 69,000, exactly where my buy orders are at. But I know that it's not gonna be an easy breezy trade just like that. So what I will do is I will scale, as any smart person should do. Oh, and watch them just not fill me. There we go. I was going to say they might do a little scam shy. So now we're down to 2 contracts, up about 100 points there. You know, I already know that if we don't just continue going down, the back test will be at least to the 1 minute volume weighted average price. So when I anchor this VWAP like that, right, my entry point is basically right about where the breakdown happened in that 1 minute. So basically the market obviously has to maintain below that for easy breezy flowing movement to the downside in the immediate, right? So yeah. All right, let's go back to TradingView. Come on, be cool. Make it a fun trade, not just a little meh one. Because you pretty much need this to break down to really make it a decent, like, good. I mean, it's already a good trade. We've made money, it's managed well, all those things. But it's like, you know, in order for it to really be a cool one, you know, we want to see that boy drown out and go get our targets and what have you. They might shy my targets a little bit, so as we get closer, I might just take some off just because, but either way. All right, there's a nice drop. No, I kind of missed the bottom of that. That's annoying, but I'll put a fill out there just to play a little safer.
Order filled.
Okay. And now we have our last one, and we'll pretty much try to just hold this one the full way. Oh, by the way, I was never going to be risking all the way up there, so if you see this like red box thing, I was never going to be risking all the way. I'm just saying like that's the risk as far as like technical analysis goes, but the risk always would have been kind of like, right, so my risk is always going to be like these downtrending VWAPs, right? So I was only risking in this case back above that trend about 0.5 or 5, I don't even know. So what's that make it, a 1 to 7? Oh, 5, 2, 6, yeah, 6.5, I don't even know. They always do this a little goofy, but I think it's a 1 to 7, right? Because that's why that number's there. I don't know. But yeah, right, so 3.8, 5, 6, yeah. So I mean, if you're only risking, 50 points and you make 350, that's 2, that's 6, that's 6.5, right? Or so, 1 to 7, whatever, doesn't even matter. So like real quick, if we were to zoom in, again, I can't say that like any of these 1 minute VWAPs are going to continue to hold, but you see how if we anchor to the high of that, we can see how we're trying to work a little bit of a lower high here on the micro time frame of Bitcoin. So if I take a little arrow, where's my arrow? It's like right there. All right, so if we anchor that high, you can see how we're creating the lower high in the high frequency trading environment right there. So as far as like, if I was like going to do micro stop outs, that's where my stop would go. Because I know that once we clear that in the micro, you basically are going to pop up to about somewhere in there. So that's how you'd micro manage a trade. And the risk of doing that is, yeah, you might get stopped out and then it might keep working. So it's kind of a game you play of risk, reward, how close you want to keep stops, things like that. I know that we're below the kind of like the breakout trend here. So we're kind of working it down. And so on and so forth. So for sure now, I'm not going to get squeezed out of this thing. So my stop now is going to be going down to that one. Right? Is that how that works? I don't even know. I'm not most familiar with Top Step. Don't use this stuff like some other people, but anyways. So give me the fill. Oh, don't scam shy. Don't scam shy. Don't scam shy. Don't scam shy. It's scam shy. Don't scam shy. Don't scam shy. Okay, we're just going to have to do it because, you know, I'm a puss. Give me the fill.
Order filled.
Thank you. All right. So in a nutshell, that's how you short Bitcoin looking for a daily volume weighted average price backtest after the market overshoots it. Use 1 minute volume weighted average prices on top of the micro Bitcoin timeframe charts to better understand how we work the 1 minute timeframes down to larger daily VWAPs. Manage risk the whole way, adjust stops, etc., etc., etc. Now, the reason that we closed this trade here, or I did, right, is because if you look, right, that's, remember I said what we would try to do? We would try to backtest, remember? The market had two options there for me. Either it just keeps squeezing up, which I thought was pretty hard to do after the market's already been going straight up for so long, right? So think about it like that. Look at how long this market's been going up, just up and up and up and up and up and up and up. So what's the likelihood it breaks out here and then goes up to my next target without pulling back for a back test? A little more unlikely, right? So that's essentially why we said and looked for that back test in the immediate. And then all the VWAP stuff. So that's a job well done. Now, the reason we cover that is because we don't know for sure in the micro if the market would break that down or if it's going to bounce and erase all the gains we just made. So as it relates to a short-term sort of trading environment, that's how I saw the market was set up. I didn't feel comfortable holding the short further than that because my, years and years and years of market experience and market analysis and forecasting markets for people, I've seen this many times. So that's why I projected the market would go here, and that's why my last cover is kind of in that area, because we could very well bounce, right? It could go up to here, erase all my gains, then it could come down later, right? In theory, it can bounce here and go all the way to 70,000, right? It could bounce, break down, and go down big, etc. It can do all sorts of things. But one thing I do know is that that was a setup that I've seen many times. So anyways, guys, cheers. Have a good one. Hope you enjoyed the video. Good night.